Now, on to something that does matter. And it's not just about people's feelings and perspectives and what it could be. We're talking about the landscape of college football and a power structure that is shaped through the lens of media. And going back to 1966, the Big Ten has been affiliated with ABC. ABC has been showing Big Ten games since 1966, but it appears starting in 2024, that ESPN and the Big Ten will no longer be affiliated.
It's a very explosive development, and let's just put it in a USC context. First of all, since the Big Ten is going to be USC's home starting in 2024. So Trojan fans, get ready for USC on NBC. NBC is going to be not your every week home, but it's going to be your primary home for USC football. Now, why is that the case? It's because, in terms of what John Urand of Sports Business Journal reported Monday night, and then we got the news Tuesday morning, August 9th, that ESPN has indeed backed out of Big Ten media rights negotiations. It's that NBC is in line. It's not a finalized deal, but this is the way the Big Ten negotiations are heading. NBC is in line to get a Big Ten night game deal for the 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific window. So with Lincoln Riley at USC, and USC being a featured attraction when it's in the Big Ten, you know that 4:30 p.m. Pacific time slot in Los Angeles, that's going to be what NBC is going to covet, that USC is regularly going to be shoehorned into the 4:30 window. So there's also the point that CBS is going to get the 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific Big Ten game, but NBC is going to pay more than CBS. That's what the reporting is saying anyway. So NBC is going to get first choice. NBC is going to get preference. Well, NBC is going to get second choice after Fox. Fox will have big noon, Big Ten Saturday. That'll be the number one. NBC gets second choice for the night slot at 4:30 Pacific, and then CBS will get a third choice or maybe even a fourth choice. But so Fox 1, NBC 2, CBS 3 or 4. So, with Fox going for that big noon Saturday, well, you're not going to have USC playing in that Saturday most of the time. You'll certainly see USC play some of the time, but most of the time you're going to see USC fall into that 4:30 slot. So that is why NBC is likely going to be the normal home, not the every week home, but the majority home for USC football. So, is Mike Tirico going to call the USC game of the week on Saturday and then do the NFL on Sunday? We don't know yet, but I mean, that's certainly an intriguing possibility and USC fans could go from having some of their games on Pac-12 network to having Mike Tirico be their regular weekly voice. That would be pretty interesting. And I think a pretty welcome development for USC fans if they get it. Now, in terms of the landscape beyond USC, in terms of what this means, I think it means that Notre Dame's independence becomes even more secure and nailed down than ever before. Why? Because NBC, if it's going to have the Saturday night Big Ten game of the week and Notre Dame under the same umbrella, what's the incentive for Notre Dame to go to the Big Ten? We're already going to be either the lead-in to the Saturday night Big Ten game of the week, or we're going to become the night game. Maybe NBC flip-flops or gives, NBC, when NBC still has Notre Dame media rights, certainly in 2024 and 2025, before the Notre Dame media rights deal is renegotiated. Notre Dame's media rights contract with NBC expires after the 2025 season. So in that 2-year window of 2024 and 2025, when USC's in the Big Ten and Notre Dame's an independent, so you're going to see, well, for one thing, you're going to have USC and Notre Dame playing at night. So Notre Dame is going to look at that and say, we're already playing USC on NBC, whether in the Big Ten or as part of our own media rights contract. We're going to get BAFO ratings, and we're going to create ratings for the game that's either right before us or right after us. We don't need to move. And so, obviously ESPN's going to make a play for Notre Dame now that ESPN's fully shut out of the Big Ten, but just the math and the geometry, they don't lead to the conclusion that, of course, Notre Dame has to forsake its independence. Notre Dame's going to get that money. Notre Dame's going to get a very appealing arrangement as it is, with NBC putting a Big Ten feature game next to a Notre Dame game every Saturday, that there's just no real overpowering incentive that's going to have to push Notre Dame out of its independent state. So that's another really big point from this Big Ten media rights deal. And the third thing, Mark, and don't have to really explain this in great detail, the Pac-12 is going to survive. The Pac-12 is not going to die, because the Pac-12 needed ESPN to get shut out of the Big Ten so that ESPN would have all this inventory to fill, and that means late games. And that's where the Pac-12 has always had an advantage over the Big 12, that we have that late night window. It's something the Big 12 can't offer. So ESPN, having been shut out of the Big 10, is now in a position to give more money to the Pac-12 for that precious late night inventory, something no one else has. The Pac-12 needed ESPN to be completely decoupled from the Big Ten. That's happened. So we don't know what the form of the Pac-12 is going to be in 5 or 6 years. And you could see a school or two still leave for the Big Ten in 2027, 2028. But ESPN needs that late night inventory. And if ESPN needs something, ESPN gets it. That's going to secure the existence of the Pac-12 in some form for the long haul. So it's not going to die.